Welcome to Tutors Plus IB English with me, Dexter Haywood, an IB English tutor, examiner, and workshop leader. Let's take a look at how to strengthen your IB English IO. There are 5 mistakes that cost IB English IO students the most marks. And these mistakes show up far more often than you might realize. And the important thing is that all 5 are completely avoidable. So if you're preparing for your English IO, fixing these will immediately raise the quality of your oral and make your examiner's experience that much smoother and more likely to give you those better marks. And these aren't random problems. They're the exact patterns that examiners hear year after year. And they almost always separate the good IOs from the great ones. And the good news is that once you fix them, once you know them, they're easy to fix. And each one connects directly to the IB criteria. So mistake 1 is only analyzing the beginning of the extract or the end of the extract or chunk. One of the first things that examiners listen for in your English IO is whether you use the whole extract, not just the opening lines, not just the first image that stands out, not just the last answer, the whole extract. And when students ignore a section, it immediately raises a red flag. If there's a tonal shift or a change in perspective, a structural break, or even a significant line that you don't mention, the examiner automatically questions why that extract was chosen in the first place. So a strong IO shows understanding from the opening line all the way to the final moment. So a useful question to ask yourself is what happens throughout that deepens your global issue. If your extract ending actually develops the issue, for example, then it must appear in your analysis. If it doesn't, you might need to refine your extract or choose a clearer angle. And remember, you need to show intention behind your extract choices. It's not set in stone, the amount that you require. So if you need to shorten a little bit, do so. And if you ignore the ending, the examiner already knows your analysis is incomplete. The second issue is one of the biggest worldwide, summarizing the extract rather than analyzing it. Now, often the extract is retold because the students know the story, they're confident with what happens. The examiners want to know what that means, not what they are. They don't award marks for paraphrasing the plot or for listing techniques with no explanation. They award marks for interpretation and effect and relevance to the global issue, the why, not the what. So instead of describing what happens, focus on why the writer made that choice and what the choice reveals. So a simple structure that always works is your idea or your point, evidence, technique, analysis or effect, and a global issue link. Peel. P-E-A-L. Follow it consistently. And if you hit all 4, your analysis automatically becomes clearer and far more examiner friendly. Mistake 3 is a weak or inconsistent global issue links. The global issue shouldn't appear only in the introduction or only in your conclusion. It should run through the entire IO like a spine. When the global issue disappears halfway through an analysis, examiners can't award the marks because Criterion A requires that link to be consistent and meaningful. It has to be that. So a vague global issue such as identity or power can also weaken the argument if it's not clearly shown in the extract. The global issue should be specific, arguable, and visible in the authorial choices you've chosen to analyze. So a quick way to check this is to ask after every idea, did I clearly link back to the global issue? If the answer is no, the examiner can't reward that point. And remember, if you're finding this helpful, feel free to click like and subscribe below so you don't miss the next IB English guide. I'll see you there. And then mistake 4, and this is crucial, repeating the same idea across both texts. Your second text isn't there to repeat the first. You have to extend it, go beyond. It's there to develop it. And this is a subtle one, but it also affects Criterion C more than a lot of students realize. Students often find one strong idea, which is fantastic. It's present in the extract, but then they repeat a slightly reworded version in the wider work or the non-literary extract. But examiners aren't listening for repetition or comparison. They're listening for range and development. So here's something important. The IB English IO is not a compare and contrast task. And this is crucial. It isn't paper 2. You're not comparing the text to each other. You're showing how each one individually contributes to your global issue. And both texts should speak to that same global issue. They should not make the same identical arguments. So a strong IO shows that each text provides something distinct, a nuance, a shift in perspective, or a completely different insight. So remember, you have 2 points inside your extract, 2 points for your wider work, all of them to your global issue. And then again, for your extract 2, or for your non-literary extracts, the same again. 2 inside the extract, 2 to the wider work, all of them to the global issue. A useful question is, what does the point or the text allow me to say that the first one doesn't? How is it different? If you can't answer it, your IO won't gain that depth and it will be repetitive. And lastly, mistake 5, ending without a synthesis. A strong IO cannot end without a synthesis, but a synthesis is not a summary. Many IOs end with something like, and that's it, you're out of time. And that final moment is when a lot of candidates lose easy marks. Examiners want a synthesis, a final insight that ties your 2 texts together and reinforces your global issue. It shouldn't be a summary, and it isn't a repeat of your line of inquiry. It's the point where you show that you've brought that argument full circle. So a simple way to end strongly is across both texts, the global issue is revealed through da-da-da. And this ultimately shows that da-da-da. And it gives you a clear final line. It answers your argument. And it gives the examiner a confident, finished impression. And yes, it's only 10 minutes. But if you practiced in advance, check your timings, ensure that you have time to squeeze in that synthesis. It has to be there. So to recap, the 5 biggest IB English IO mistakes are: 1. Analysing only the beginning or chunk of the extract. 2. Summarising instead of analysing, follow Peel. 3. Weak or inconsistent global issue links. You've got to keep on coming back, keep on reinforcing that global issue. 4. Repeating the same idea across both texts. Don't do it. Have 4 different ideas per text. And 5. Ending without a synthesis. Make sure you practice so you have time to get that synthesis in there. Fix these 5 and your IO becomes clearer, more controlled, and far easier for an examiner to reward across all the criteria. Thank you. And if you want personalized help improving your IB English IO, choosing extracts, or refining your line of inquiry, even building your 10-bullet structure, you can book a session with me, Dexter Haywood, or another IB English specialist at Tutors Plus. And remember, if this video helped you, click like and subscribe below so you don't miss the next guide. Thank you.